Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nazir, page 5. Now, most people, when they think of a famous Nazir, we remind ourselves of Shimshon or Samson, found in the book of Judges. And this was a person that remained a Nazir forever. In fact, he was already a Nazir from birth. He didn't accept upon himself the law of becoming a Nazir, as opposed to someone who is called a Nazir Olam, someone who is also a Nazir forever. But there are distinctions. When it comes to someone like Shimshon, interestingly enough, one of the 3 rules does not apply to him. We know that a Nazir is not allowed to drink wine, is not allowed to cut his hair, as well as not allowed to become in contact with the dead. However, Shimshon, as we find throughout the stories of the jawbone and other cases where he smote the Philistines, we see clearly there was no concern of him being in contact with the dead. So when it came to Shimshon, to Samson, we interestingly find that law of becoming impure does not apply. However, someone who accepts upon themselves to be a Nazir forever, which is not the typical situation, but if a person does that, then they are, in fact, allowed to cut their hair on occasion. Over here, the Talmud actually brings down 3 different opinions. Even though it seems to be like one of the most difficult things to not cut your hair, but when it comes to this person, we do allow him to cut his hair when it gets very heavy, when it becomes too long. And according to one opinion, that is once a year. You can imagine getting a haircut only once a year, your hair is going to grow quite long. There is the second opinion that once a month, which is something in which most of us are accustomed. Some of us even wait more than a month to cut their hair. And believe it or not, there's even an opinion that says he's allowed to cut his hair, if it grows long, every week, from Erev Shabbos to Erev Shabbos, each Friday. Why? Because that is the way, just like Avshalom, he was a Nazir forever, and he was also the child of a king. And we know that someone who is on such a high stature cannot have his hair all messy, but rather it's necessary that he has to make sure that he's presentable, and therefore he's allowed to get a haircut every Friday. And that's in fact what the law is. Now, because we're constantly hearing about Samson, one would often think that is the typical situation. A Nazir is someone who accepts upon himself these restrictions for their entire life. And that is certainly not the normal situation. If a person would just say that I'm a Nazir, so there's actually 2 opinions. Most people understand and know the opinion that Stam Nazir Shloshim Yom, that it's for 30 days, and that's it. After the 30 days, there is a procedure of exactly how you complete this process of being a Nazir, and then you're no longer a Nazir. There is another opinion that it's only 29 days, based on the amount of times that word actually is found throughout the Torah actually equals to 29. However, again, normally when a person thinks of a Nazir, we think of someone who is a Nazir for an extended period of time, but in fact, in a normal circumstance, it's only for about a month.